I've always stayed true to myself. All my opinions are truly my opinions, and I'm not the kind of person to hide my misdeeds or the bad things that I've done. I just show it to people. So I'm not the type of person to delete my comments or pretend that I have never done something when I have actually done something. I know that a lot of bus enthusiasts tend to be on the neurodivergent side regardless of like how far into the spectrum they are. I don't discriminate people based on whether they're neurotypical or neurodivergent. I just want to make this clear. Regardless of which side you are on, not that it matters, but like it's just an explanation to why people behave in a certain manner. But honestly, I feel like talking to certain individuals, even if you talk to them nicely and patiently, they never improve, they never ever show signs of improvement. It's fine if you're slow, but you gotta at least show some form of like progress after like a month, a few months, or like a few years or what. Some people are just like incredibly stubborn. They don't want to listen to what people are trying to tell them. And sometimes, I know it's not their fault, but when you talk to them, it really feels like talking to a brick wall. In the past, this user has criticized me for pressing the bell twice because I needed to demonstrate something for a video. Like, they just ask like the most stupid things ever. Like, ever. Things that can be easily researchable or inferable. Like you could infer even if I didn't tell you the answer like straight away. I've repeatedly told people that I refuse to spoon feed people because it is not helping for their own personal growth. Why are only some CDS services filmed? Okay, there are 5 of them, but why is it that most people happen to be disinterested in them? And why is it that people are only really interested in 683? I don't have to directly tell you guys. And this guy has to stop making excuses because his English is bad or he's on the spectrum or what. No. Some of the smartest people that I know personally, they happen to be on the spectrum, like they are actually neurodivergent. But they don't behave like this. I am aware that it's a spectrum, but I am a content creator. I make videos to entertain people and make you guys laugh or actually give insights to you guys that you might not have known. But I am not your customer service hotline 24/7, especially when you ask me stupid things like this. If he has put in the effort to find the answer and couldn't get it, even if it's like really obvious, if he has at the very least put in effort, I'm like, okay, you've tried, okay, then it's my duty to like at the very least help you, right? But no, time after time after time and again, he has shown to be damn lazy. He expects me to spoon feed him every single damn thing. So I tell people not to spoon feed him as well. Just gonna let you guys see. It speaks for itself. Oops, wrong one. Like, he just never puts in even the littlest bit of effort. So apparently, according to him, his exact words, I didn't change his words, these were his exact words, why hate electric buses? So apparently, according to him, I filmed all of these just for fun. I filmed all of these just for fun. Like, I actually admire you guys sometimes, and I'm not joking. Like, genuinely, I legit admire you guys because you guys are able to... Honestly, this one probably comes from like the troll, that dinosaur guy, but... Okay, what I was trying to say is that you guys actually have the patience to handle people like these, you know? And then I said, like, just because they're gonna be commonplace next time. Dude, if they're gonna be commonplace next time, you should be focusing more on the diesel buses now because they only have 17 years of lifespan, right? So why the fuck would I focus on electric buses now? Like, it's just really, really simple logic. And then I said, like, it doesn't mean that people have to, like, agree with said decisions. So then I pointed out his complete lack of, like, higher order thinking. Like, he has proven to be completely incapable of, like, any form of higher order thinking, critical thinking, or whatever you call it. So the thing that I said just now, the thing that I showed you guys just now, I even gave him a hint. Like, I told him to think. Like, I gave him a hint. And for some reason, I don't know what's wrong with this guy. Like, he's just completely ignoring what people are telling him. And when we try to, like, even when we try to, like, coach him, guide him, and stuff like that, he just refuses to, like, reciprocate in any way. And then he's like, I mean, LTA wants a bus from a certain country cause cheap and good. And the big problem is that this guy isn't like an industry expert. Like, if you are an industry expert in electric buses, it is your job to convince the authorities of a city or a country or the bus operators to actually want to purchase your buses, right? You need to convince them, you need to tell them in terms of like the technical aspects of a bus, what kind of new technology you offer and stuff like that. It is their job to be able to convince people on why electric buses may not be as bad as what the public thinks, like, right? Like how the public actually perceives them, right? That is their job, to be able to effectively communicate with them and be able to back up their talk, basically. The problem is that this person is not working in the industry. He is just an airhead. I am not saying airheads are not entitled to their opinion. It is just like flat earthers. Yes, they can be entitled to their opinion that the earth is flat, even though it's blatantly false, and even though whatever they're talking about is a load of crap. I'm not saying that they aren't entitled to have an opinion. 意見を持ってるよ. I am just saying that their opinion doesn't hold a lot of weight because they are not working in the bus industry when it comes to electrification of buses. So when they say LTA, I take it as they're referring to the government in general, and it's just saying LTA because it's convenient. So this is where I basically lost it at him. When they say it's cheap and good, then yeah, I basically said this part out loud. Because sometimes talking to him nicely just doesn't work. And the fact that this guy basically he just laps up everything that like the higher ups say without any form of like critical thinking. Just blatantly disregards like the safety hazards when it comes to like electric buses that pretty much everybody is like aware of. Even like neurodivergents are like aware of the fact that like electric buses may not be as good as how they might have originally perceived them, right? Everybody has a chance to educate themselves. It doesn't matter if you are like high IQ, low IQ, or what type of whatever, how neurodiverse you are, basically. It doesn't matter. Okay, that's the word. So I kind of got mad at them because he just doesn't give a crap about people's safety. So here's the thing. Sengkang West Depot, there is actually a case of one of the batteries, like not the entire bus, but like the battery actually catching on fire. I don't even know if it's due to like Singapore's climate or somewhere something went wrong with the bus. I'm not really into the technical aspects of a bus. Like I'm just not good at. I could attempt to talk about it, but it's just not like my specialty. I do have friends that actually specialize in such areas. Maybe I could ask them, what could have happened, because obviously we all don't work in Sengkang West Depot, right? So this is actually one of the rumors. It's a very recent rumor, but the fact that there's even such a rumor in the first place, it just shows that like electric buses might not be as cheap or good or safe as you'd think. And this is not like, oh, this bus just has really poor performance or is just sluggish or what. No, this is like an actual fucking fire. In case this guy isn't able to read the room, it's an actual fucking fire. I don't see the Yutong E12 DDs or SDs catching on fire, and I'm sure you guys pretty much have never heard of such cases. Basically, the model is referring to like either the BYD or Zhongtong. And this bozo still has the cheek to tell me that, oh, BYDs and Zhongtongs are like cheap and good. Well, obviously, if you have something cheap, it's quite risky to buy them, right? Because they are cheaply manufactured. I don't even have to like go into the specifics. If it's cheaply built, obviously some form of like cutting corners or stuff like that might have happened during the manufacturing process. Why am I even yapping about this? So yeah, this is exactly why, I just had to like vent it out before I lose my shit. But don't worry, I'm okay. I just had it with this guy. One more time, I'm just going to ban him from my channel. Like just straight up, I'm just gonna hide all his comments and ban him. Not because he disagrees with the rest of the people on my comment section, but because he just flat out refuses to acknowledge anything and just wants to talk shit. And it's also because he seems to be blissfully ignorant of the complaints that have been coming from people whom have actually ridden the bus. I still avoid these buses for an obvious reason. I am not boarding one of these buses without personal protective equipment, obviously. But again, for the people who have actually boarded the bus, they feedback that the number of seats is really appalling. And also the fact that like elderly could trip on the high steps because it is a fully low floor bus. So I don't even have to repeat these things to all of you. You guys already know. But it just seems that this guy doesn't even give a fuck about like the passenger safety in general, and he's like, the electric bus good. Which again, it just makes me think about something. People like him are not one of the people that would, they are just not individuals that would make an informed decision on which government should I vote for. These are the people that they would be like, electric buses are good and cheap. I love it. Look, like, I could always go back to Japan, right? I could always go back home. But sometimes I'm just like worried for you guys here, my friends here, that didn't even choose to be born in this pathetic shit country. Not really, but it just pains me to say that like this actual island actually has potential, just being run down by people. They are not the people whom like they make an informed decision for themselves and they still choose to vote for the incumbents. Then I am like, okay, at the very least you've made an informed decision to screw yourself, but you've made an informed decision and I'm not gonna stop you from doing this or that. It's your right to vote. I'm not here to like convince you otherwise, but carry on. Whatever happens, don't go around blaming other people for whatever's happening. I mean, like, what will happen to you in the next few decades or so? I'm not supposed to be talking about stuff like this, but I am genuinely worried for you guys. And when it comes to like the bus context, when you have people like this in the bus community at large, it starts to become really concerning when people cannot think for themselves and they just vote for this and that because they heard this from there, they heard this from there, they are unable to think for themselves and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna continue this. I mean, why I absolutely cannot stand people like this is because they are pretty much the equivalent of like MAGA in USA, and it's not so much that they're a cult, but it's like, I'm just like, why do I share the same space with these shits kind of thing, right? And the thing is like, have you guys ever seen me like hating on this bus model or hating on this bus model or even like hating on this bus model? I even said that these things actually look decent even though I'm not the biggest fan of like BYD. And the fact that I was like punking live stream of the EDS and I told people it's meant to be a MAN NLC 18E and not like a 19C or a 19G or anything. No, I told people it was an 18E. And then this idiot just comes in and tells me, why are you against electric buses? Dude, as a bus enthusiast who has like legit loved buses ever since young, when I was like 3 or 4 years old, around that age, I just don't want to see bus operators buying crap and then suffering because of it. Alright? Sometimes you can cheap out and you can cheap out for like a small fleet that you urgently need. Okay, fine. But when you want to buy a production batch, you cannot just cheap out, right? Even when you cheap out, you gotta cheap out in a smart way, like what SBS Transit did with like the 1100, is it 1100 KUB orders? Yeah, KUBs are like objectively not the best buses, but they could still hold till at least like 20-25 years maximum. They are still able to hold for the most part if you maintain well. And back then Gemilang was kind of like not that good, but right now they have improved. People improve after time. I mean, even these bus bodywork manufacturers, they improve over time as well. But it's just that, okay, the main point is that like, you want to cheap out, fine, but you gotta cheap out in a smart way. And what they are doing right now with the recent orders that I really don't want to talk about, because I just don't want to talk about it, that's all. What is there to talk about it? And the thing is that I'm not blaming them for like buying all these shit cheap buses, because I know that like they have been screwed by the previous administration led by RW and YTG and whichever goon that has been like ousted to the taxis department. I don't blame them, but I cannot just stand here and tell you that they are making good decisions. I understand why they have to make bad decisions, but I'm not going to like just lie to you guys in broad daylight that their choice of procurement of electric bus is actually good. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm just merely saying I understand why they have to cheap out in this instance. And then I got stupid fucks like Jason telling me,
Why do you not like the cheap and good electric buses? I feel comfortable. They are so relaxing and quiet to ride.
And I'm like, you want to know what's actually truly quiet? It's these. I mean, technically, the 18E isn't that quiet because it actually has some form of like turbo or some electric component that resembles a turbo. Whatever you call it, I'm not good when it comes to like this stuff. And for those people who say stuff like, oh, I'm against LTA or anything, I'm just saying, back then I used to be, but I didn't blame the entire organization. I just blamed the people who are actually responsible for putting that entire organization in a mess because it's like top down, right? And you couldn't go against like the deputy director or like the director, right? So yes, I was understanding, but right now they have like actually ousted these people, you would have noticed that I'm actually a lot more lenient on them. But obviously when they make bad decisions, I'm not just gonna stand here and say, oh, you guys are doing good, right? All I can do is just empathize with those people that, yes, right now they're just trying to dig their way out of the massive ditch that RW has dug for the entire organization. And I'm sorry, I'm just not good at lying. I cannot just stand here and tell you electric buses are good, okay? It depends on which model at the end of the day. I just want to make it clear, I don't want to talk about electric buses. I really don't.